All right, Algebraites, let's take a gander at 1-4 bookwork. I see a few questions on 33 and 37, etc. I won't do them all for you. I just want to do these two. And these ones, you're asked to solve for a particular variable. In this case, we want to get h by itself. So let's take a gander at this. I need to get this letter by itself, which means I need to undo the other stuff that's around it. I need to get rid of the times half. Remember, this is a times right there. And also this one here is a times a b. So I need to get rid of all of those other two things. So how do I do that? Well, to get rid of that b, if I divide both sides by b, notice the b reduces on the right side, and on the left side I have a, capital A, divided by b equals 1/2 times h. Now it's h is the thing I want to isolate here, so I'm going to keep that, staple that in place. So how do I get rid of the 1/2? Well, I could divide by a half, but that sounds complicated. But remember, if you multiply by the reciprocal, multiply both sides by 2, you get, on this side, notice the 2 only applies to the numerator there. So 2 capital A divided by B, lowercase, equals h. And now you have h by itself. Well, how would I attack a problem like number 37? Solving for x. Again, we need to get x by itself right here, but there's two of them. So what do we do? Well, there are two ways to approach it, but let me just look at this right here. What if I had 3x plus 4x? What would you do in this case? Well, most people say, oh, combine like terms and I get 7x. Sure, but what did you do? Well, I took this 3, I ignored the x, I took this 4, ignored that x, and just combined them, right? So what did you do? You added the coefficients together here. So a step that you actually skipped right here was this. You put x outside and you did the 3 plus 4 inside, like that. Technically what that is the distributive property. You take the x and you undistribute it. We call that factoring. So that's what we're going to actually do here, where we take that x and we're going to undistribute and put the x on the outside. So let me do that, and notice what's left on the inside, the a plus the b equals c. So the question is, how do we isolate this right here? Well, now we need to get rid of the a plus b, just like I would have over here, got rid of that 7, or got rid of the 3 plus 4, like so. Remember that in math, if letters confuse you, substitute it with some numbers and see what you would do otherwise. And so a plus b is over here. I do want to point out to you that when you're dividing, do not cancel out the a's and the b's like so. Remember, this is an entire unit. It's one thing. So the a plus b reduces with the a plus b. So what are we left with? Over here, we're left with x, and here I have c divided by a plus b. And there we go. So these are solving for a particular variable. Now, let's look at this next problem here where we're asked to solve this. And it looks a little complicated, and some of our first instinct might be to distribute here, but notice that just gives more decimals everywhere. So how do I actually get rid of the decimals? Well, notice that this decimal, if I were able to move the decimal over 1, multiply by 10, then I wouldn't have a decimal anymore. It would just be 2. And the same thing over here. So what's the key? I need to multiply this by 10 and this by 10. But remember, if I multiply one thing by 10, this term, I have to multiply this by 10 and this by 10. So let's go ahead and do that. So times this by 10, this by 10, and this by 10. Now, we're not distributing the 10 out here. We're just multiplying these two here, and these two here. So down below, I now get not 20, but 2, x plus 3. Bring down a 40 now, 2x minus 3, and bring down the 9, not 90. Now, if I distribute these two, including the negative right there, then we have a lot more simple problem because we don't have our decimals to manage. So I get 2x plus 6 minus 80x minus 120. Now, notice I've made a mistake. Let's just double check. This negative times this negative is positive, so I've got to change that. So that's a positive equals 9. Now I'll let you finish this part here. We got to combine like terms. Remember that the 2x and the negative 80x are like terms. The positive 6, the positive 120 are like terms. And then isolate the x, and we'll let you finish that up. Hope that helps.